Get ready to uncover an unexpected side of San Andrés, beyond its postcard-perfect beaches and crystal-clear waters. This tiny Caribbean island, officially part of Colombia, has a unique Creole culture, laid-back island vibes, and some downright surprising customs you won't find in any glossy travel brochure. We're about to walk you through 12 local taboos and weird happenings that might make you rethink everything you thought you knew about Caribbean life. Stay tuned to learn how to navigate this island's hidden rules like a pro. Taboo #12: disrespecting the local Creole and language mix. San Andrés isn't just your standard tropical getaway. While Spanish is widely spoken, this is technically Colombian territory, after all. The island also boasts a distinctive Creole, rooted in English and African Caribbean influences. People call this form of speech San Andrés Providencia Creole, or simply Creole. It's not broken English and it's not bad Spanish, but a living tongue with its own grammar, history, and cultural identity. Where the taboo comes in. Plenty of travelers, and even some mainland Colombians, show up expecting to hear normal Spanish. They might get confused, or worse, mock the sing-song Creole they overhear in markets or corner shops. Locals can be pretty proud of their linguistic heritage, so cracking jokes or dismissing their language as weird slang is a fast way to get on people's bad side. Some older islanders still remember being forced to speak Spanish in official settings, so they're extra sensitive about outsiders brushing off Creole. Stories and rumors. Rumor has it that a few clueless tourists once insisted on pure Spanish only, telling islanders, "Please speak properly." You can guess how that went down. People might respond politely in Spanish, but trust me, they'll be internally rolling their eyes. The friendlier locals might try to teach you a few Creole phrases, especially if they sense genuine interest. But if you act like their language is substandard, they'll likely shut down or give you minimal courtesy. The moral? Show respect. Ask questions if you're curious, but don't stomp on their cultural pride. Practical tip. If you pick up a bit of Creole, you'll earn some serious brownie points. Even a friendly, "What a guan?" Something like, "How's it going?" or thank you," can spark big smiles. The islanders appreciate an open-minded approach, and if you struggle with the accent, just admit it. It's all part of the learning experience. In any case, remember that belittling Creole or demanding real Spanish is a major no-no in San Andrés. Taboo #11: overfishing and environmental disrespect. One of the biggest draws to San Andrés is the spectacular marine life. Neon-colored fish, glowing corals, and gentle sea turtles cruising around the reefs. The entire region is part of the Seaflower Biosphere Reserve, which aims to protect these fragile ecosystems. Despite this, the island has wrestled with overfishing and unsustainable tourism practices for years. Why it's a touchy subject? Locals depend on seafood like fish, lobster, and conch, not just for commercial sales, but also for their own tables. Over time, some species have dwindled or become seasonal must-haves, like lobster with strict off-seasons. Regulators occasionally crack down, but the black market for undersized lobsters or certain fish species persists. As a visitor, if you try to buy illegally caught seafood or brag about snagging marine creatures for souvenirs, you'll probably offend folks who are trying to protect their livelihoods and environment. Stories from the docks. You might stumble across shady street vendors offering fresh conch or special lobster at suspiciously cheap rates. Some travelers, lured by the bargain, load up, only to discover they're supporting illegal trade. Word gets around quickly in a small community like San Andrés. Locals who care about conservation might quietly judge you, or even tip off authorities. There have been whispers about fishermen confronting tourists who haul away baby lobsters. Once tempers flare, a serene island paradise can feel a bit less friendly. Pro tips. Ask around for legit seafood spots that follow seasonal rules. Many restaurants post signs about sustainable sourcing. If something feels too good, or cheap to be true, it probably is. And if you go fishing with a local guide, confirm they're operating with proper permits and not ignoring the reserve's guidelines. Respect the sea, or risk being labeled another careless tourist. Taboo #10: ignoring the dress code in religious or local settings. Sure, San Andrés is a place of flip-flops, tank tops, and breezy dresses, especially near the beaches. But step away from the shoreline, and you'll find neighborhoods where families have strong Baptist or other Protestant traditions passed down from generations of English-speaking Afro-Caribbean ancestors. Some older folks prefer modest dress when entering churches or attending community gatherings, where trouble starts. Tourists might wander into a local church for Sunday service just for the cultural experience, no problem there. But if you roll up in see-through beachwear or short shorts, you're stepping on cultural sensitivities. Locals are generally nice. They won't scream at you, but they might give disapproving looks or whisper among themselves. Some might approach you politely and suggest covering up. Stories and reactions. There are anecdotal tales of travelers being gently nudged to sit at the back of the congregation because they wore skimpy attire. Another rumor is that a local pastor once paused a service to address a row of tourists who strolled in wearing bikini tops. Although it sounds dramatic, it underscores the point. Respect the fact that not all spaces on the island operate under the anything goes beach mentality. Play it safe. A simple light shawl or a slightly longer pair of shorts can go a long way. If you're unsure, check what the locals are wearing. If they're dressed conservatively, try to follow suit. You're a guest in their community after all. Dress codes might not be official, but ignoring them can come off as dismissive of local traditions. Taboo hash 9. Clubbing culture versus island quiet hours. Wait, quiet hours? This is the Caribbean, you might think. Yes, San Andrés has a lively side, complete with reggae bars, nightclubs, and roving street parties, especially around the main commercial area. Yet, many islanders rise early for fishing or other work. Some neighborhoods have unspoken limits on late-night noise. The friction. Bars and clubs near the tourist districts often blast dancehall, reggaeton, or soca until well past midnight. But push that scene into a residential zone, and you might get complaints from neighbors who aren't thrilled about 3 a.m. baselines. The local government sometimes sets official or semi-official curfews, but enforcement can be spotty. Either way, partying in the wrong place at the wrong hour can cause tension. Heard on the street. Some guests post online about being asked by neighbors to keep it down, even in an Airbnb that looked perfect for partying. One story involves a group of friends who threw a loud birthday bash, only to find the landlord on their doorstep, reminding them that many older islanders in the neighborhood attend church early on Sundays. The group had no clue they were messing with local rest times until it was spelled out. Polite partying. Stick to established clubs or bars in commercial areas if you want to party all night. If you're renting a private villa or small apartment, check with the host about noise guidelines. And do your neighbors a favor. If the walls are thin, maybe turn down the volume after midnight. People here love music, but also appreciate courtesy. It's an island, not an endless spring break. Taboo hash 8. Disrespecting island time and social norms. Life in San Andrés flows at a different pace. The phrase island time means that schedules are flexible and stress is kept to a minimum. At least that's the ideal. You might wait longer than usual for your meal at a family-run eatery, or find the ferry operator taking a laid-back approach to departures. Some travelers love it, others get frustrated. Why this is a taboo? Losing your cool, snapping at a waiter for slow service, or berating a shop owner for opening late are all seen as rude. Locals might think, why did you even come to an island if you can't slow down? The idea is that you're supposed to unwind, not bring your city hustle to the beach. Real-life examples. One well-known tale involves a group of mainland tourists complaining loudly at a small restaurant because their food took an hour. The staff, accustomed to chatting with customers and preparing dishes from scratch, felt insulted. The tension escalated, and the vibe turned sour. Another rumor has it that a boat captain once left 15 minutes early, shrugging. "We had a full group, so we set off." The latecomers fumed, but the captain insisted they should have arrived earlier since schedules were approximate. How to deal. If you need punctuality like catching a flight, double-check with your hotel or a trusted local about realistic times. For less urgent activities, just roll with it. Ask about the local pace, embrace the spontaneity. That's part of the island's charm. Sure, it's not always convenient, but ironically, that's also why many city dwellers come here, to escape the rat race. Taboo hash. 7. Overbearing mainland Colombian influence. Although San Andrés is politically under Colombia, it's physically much closer to Nicaragua and culturally tied to Afro-Caribbean roots. Many locals feel overshadowed by the government in Bogotá, which they believe doesn't always get island life. Add a constant influx of mainland Colombian tourists, business owners, or property developers, and tensions can flare. What's the issue? Some islanders feel that mainlanders set up big hotels or chain stores without respecting local heritage. They might bring Spanish-only signage or hire staff from outside, sidelining Rizal, Afro-Caribbean community members. This fosters resentment, especially among older families who've lived here for generations. Examples and conflicts. You might hear grumbling about certain real estate projects that bulldozed old family lands or blocked shoreline access, or a big holiday weekend sees thousands of Colombians flood the beaches, leaving trash and ignoring local guidelines. Island locals sometimes call it invasion tourism, the idea that outsiders come, party, and leave chaos behind. If you're a visitor from the mainland, take the time to appreciate San Andrés for its unique culture. Don't assume everything is the same as in Bogotá or Medellín. Learn a few words of Creole, try local dishes, chat with Rizal residents. Showing genuine curiosity and respect can cool potential friction. Acting like the island is just another Colombian beach might reinforce the taboo that people from the mainland don't value or understand local identity. Taboo hash. 6. Buying or consuming illegal substances. Hollywood stereotypes might paint all Caribbean islands as weed havens or laid-back anything-goes zones. In reality, Colombia's drug laws still apply in San Andrés. Despite a noticeable Rasta influence and reggae culture, don't assume it's legal to light up wherever you want. Police do conduct checks, and the local community often disapproves of outsiders flaunting substance use. Tourist misconceptions. Some visitors assume that because they see people wearing dreads or playing reggae, they're free to buy weed or other drugs on the beach. That's not necessarily the case, and those who do get caught might face serious legal trouble. There are stories of naive tourists scammed by street dealers who vanish after taking their money, or worse, turn them into the police for a reward. Local attitudes. While you might find pockets of acceptance or discreet use among residents, it's far from openly embraced. Mainland authorities keep an eye on drug trafficking routes through the Caribbean. The local economy is tourism-based, so big scandals or arrests can damage the island's reputation. Locals often resent travelers who treat their home like a lawless playground. Stay safe. If you're offered illegal substances by random strangers, think twice. Even if small personal amounts of marijuana are decriminalized under certain conditions in Colombia, the lines can be blurry. And if you're messing with harder drugs, you're not only risking your safety, but also violating local norms. The last thing you want is to end up in a Colombian jail or unwittingly supporting shady dealers who exploit the community. Taboo hash. 5. Misusing scooters or golf carts and ignoring local road rules. A big part of San Andrés' charm is that you don't need a car to get around. Tourists often rent golf carts, scooters, or bikes to circle the island, which can be done in a day. Sounds fun, right? Sure, unless you decide to go full Mario Kart, racing around narrow streets and ignoring basic rules. Why it's tense. Local roads can be cramped, and many pedestrians share these spaces. If you speed through residential areas, blasting music and nearly clipping people, you'll quickly earn the label of that obnoxious tourist. Some rental companies warn visitors about speed limits, but enforcement can be lax. The real enforcement might come from local glares or scoldings. Incidents. Online forums mention golf cart gangs, groups of friends renting multiple carts and driving side by side, blocking traffic. There are also tales of scooter crashes due to potholes or reckless maneuvers. One rumor claims a tourist ended up in the hospital after attempting to do wheelies on a scooter near a busy intersection. Locals weren't surprised, and the rental shop got flack for not ensuring the rider had any driving experience. Play it cool. Keep speeds moderate, especially outside the touristy strip. Don't beep at locals to get out of your way, let them pass. If you're not comfortable driving a scooter, opt for a taxi or let a friend do the driving. The island is about chilling out, not proving you can navigate tight corners at high speed. Trust us, you'll miss the scenic beauty if you're too focused on adrenaline stunts. Taboo hash 4. Taking starfish out of the water and other harmful tourist stunts. The Caribbean waters around San Andrés are famously calm and shallow in spots like Rose Cay, often called the Aquarium, or near Johnny Cay. Many people come hoping to see starfish, stingrays, or small sharks. But the sad reality is that tourists sometimes handle marine creatures in ways that harm them, like plucking starfish out of the water for that perfect Instagram shot. Why? This is a big no-no. Starfish, and many other marine creatures, can suffocate or suffer stress injuries if kept out of the water too long. The same goes for manhandling coral or chasing stingrays. Park authorities and eco-guides keep telling visitors, "Look, don't touch." Yet, plenty ignore these guidelines in pursuit of viral selfies. Local reactions. Some local guides get visibly upset watching tourists pass starfish around as if they're plush toys. A few have confronted people, explaining that even a short time out of the water can kill these fragile animals. There are also whispers that large numbers of starfish have died in popular spots, prompting environmental concerns and potential closures. Do it right. If you're snorkeling or visiting natural pools, admire marine life from a respectful distance. If a starfish happens to be near your feet, let it be. Don't try to feed fish random leftovers, as that can disrupt their diets. This taboo goes beyond social faux pas. It's about preserving the island's ecosystem so future generations can enjoy the same natural beauty you came to see. Taboo hash 3. Cultural appropriation of Raizal traditions. The Raizal people are the native Afro-Caribbean community with a distinct culture that blends African heritage, English Baptist roots, and Creole language. Their music, dance, and sense of community are core elements of San Andrés' identity. But as tourism booms, some outsiders treat Raizal customs like an exotic prop. Where it goes wrong. Maybe you see a traditional dance group wearing colorful attire, or you hear about a local ceremony. Some tourists or even event promoters might push for performances without respecting the cultural or spiritual significance. There have been incidents where travelers show up to sacred gatherings uninvited, filming on their phones as if it's a show. That's a big no. Tales of tension. Rumor has it that a film crew once tried to stage a cultural demonstration by paying random people to wear Raizal outfits. Local elders were furious. These outfits are often reserved for actual celebrations or festivals. Another story. A tourist took a Raizal woman's headscarf and wore it, joking around. She was politely asked to return it but left a bad impression. It might seem harmless to you, but for the community, it can feel like a mocking appropriation of deeply rooted traditions. Show respect. If you're genuinely interested, ask questions, attend public festivals, or see if there's an official cultural center that welcomes visitors. Take photos only when given permission. Buying authentic Raizal handicrafts or supporting local-run tours is usually appreciated, as long as you're not treating people like museum exhibits. Remember, these are living traditions, not tourist gimmicks. Taboo hash 2. Skirting or underestimating marine reserve regulations. San Andrés, Providencia, and Santa Catalina Islands together form part of the Seaflower Biosphere Reserve, an international designation meant to protect marine life. Fishing zones, diving spots, and boating routes are regulated to prevent reef damage. However, some travelers ignore these rules, thinking they're just guidelines. Why this matters? Coral reefs are slow-growing ecosystems, and each anchor drop can crush decades of coral growth. Overcrowding a fragile dive site with too many boats or divers stirs up sediment and harms the habitat. Locals rely on a healthy reef for tourism income too, so damaging it is like shooting yourself in the foot if you want pristine waters. Enforcement and myths. There are official rules. Certain areas require permits, or you need to go with licensed operators. But locals say you can spot unregistered boats, leading people to restricted spots for a quick buck. A rumor suggests some unscrupulous tour guides bribe officials to avoid fines. If you get caught on such a boat, you might end up in legal trouble or slapped with a hefty penalty. More importantly, you're contributing to the reef's decline. Do the right thing. Seek out reputable dive shops that follow guidelines, limit group sizes, and brief you on reef-safe behavior, like no touching coral, using reef-friendly sunscreen, etc. The same goes for snorkeling tours. If a guide promises access to secret spots in protected areas, that's a red flag. By choosing eco-friendly tours, you help sustain the reserve's future and dodge the taboo of harming the island's marine jewels. Taboo #1. Overlooking San Andrés' identity versus mainland Colombia. We've touched on mainland influences, but the deepest taboo might be ignoring how San Andrés sees itself as culturally distinct from the rest of Colombia. The island's Afro-Caribbean heritage, English-based Creole, and centuries-old local customs set it apart. Yet, official policies and mass tourism can sometimes treat it as just Colombia's best beach destination. Why it's so core. Islanders have fought for autonomy and recognition, pushing for their language and rights to be respected. Many older families have Jamaican or Jamaican-adjacent roots. They might feel overshadowed by an onslaught of Spanish-speaking tourists who have zero interest in the island's unique background. It's not about wanting to be separate from Colombia, it's about wanting their identity to be valued. Heated debates. Talk to certain locals and you'll hear about frustrations, insufficient government investment in local schools, or the feeling that big corporations exploit the island's land. Some mention the constitutional court rulings meant to protect the archipelago's environment and culture. When travelers swoop in, ignoring these tensions, they unwittingly feed into the notion that the island is just a fun beach with cheap duty-free shops. Meanwhile, the Rizal community continues to strive for cultural preservation. The final take. This taboo sits at the heart of everything else. If you treat San Andrés as a mere Colombian suburb with sand, you'll never grasp the deeper vibe. If you engage people about their ancestry, ask about their musical heritage, or show respect for Creole language, you'll gain a richer connection. In short, acknowledging the island's distinct identity isn't just polite, it's the gateway to truly understanding its soul. San Andrés may look like a breezy paradise, but just beneath those coconut palms lies a tapestry of customs, challenges, and overlooked identities. Each taboo we've explored, whether it's about marine conservation, cultural respect, or local language, reveals a community striving to hold on to its heritage while welcoming the outside world. The island's slow pace, distinctive Creole, and proud Rizal traditions set it apart from mainland Colombia, making it a fascinating study in contrasts. The good news? Most islanders are gracious hosts. If you show genuine curiosity and humility, they'll happily guide you on everything from the best Creole dishes to the proper way to handle starfish. Hint, you don't. The line between tourist traps and authentic experiences can blur, but keep these taboos in mind, and you'll stand out as someone who truly cares about respecting local vibes. Ultimately, San Andrés' story is one of resilience. A small island forging its path amid environmental pressures and a tidal wave of tourism. By tuning into these hidden rules, you become part of that story in a positive way, helping preserve what makes San Andrés uniquely magical. So, did any of these taboos catch you off guard? If you visited San Andrés, share your stories or surprises in the comments below. We'd love to hear how you navigated these unspoken rules, or if you stumbled over them by accident. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into hidden cultural quirks around the globe. Stay curious, travel respectfully, and remember, there's always more beneath the surface than meets the eye, especially on an island as layered as San Andrés.